Independent National Electoral Commission says it has commenced preparations for the conduct of by-elections to fill the vacant seats in the National and State Assemblies. The Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman, Rotimi Oyekanmi, in an interview with press on Thursday in Abuja, said that the Commission will soon release more details about the by-elections. We have commenced preparations for the conduct of the by-elections. At our meeting with leaders of political parties and security agencies recently, we notified them of our preparations. The current National and State Assemblies were inaugurated in June 2023. Between June and December 2023, a period of just 6 months, vacancies occurred in 23 constituencies as a result of death or resignation of legislators. In early 2024, the Commission conducted 9 by-elections. Since then, 16 other vacancies have occurred, he said. Oyekanmi said that the challenge with by-elections was that they were unpredictable, not budgeted for, and also difficult to plan for in advance. This, he said, was why INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu appealed to the National Assembly recently to consider other viable alternatives to by-elections for filling vacancies in the National and State Assemblies. Oyekanmi said that the call was aimed at mitigating the high cost of conducting by-elections in the country. He also said that INEC was working on resuming its nationwide continuous voter registration and collection of permanent voter cards. The resumption of CVR is the top of the Commission's agenda. It is only a matter of time before the Commission announces the date, he said. What do you make of this statement by INEC, Ugochukwu? And why is it funny to you?
I don't know. Ever since after the last election, I've lost a lot of faith in INEC and things they say. And one other challenge I have with INEC, it's the humongous amounts we use in running elections. And after all that kind of monies are spent on elections, we still have litigations upon litigations, irregularities, and everything that comes with the election. So it bothers me. Like, I see that, and you can see what he's saying. There are challenges for by-elections is that they are not budgeted for. They are not. He's first of all talked about the financial challenges. But my question is, do we need all that money to do a proper election? Is it how all other countries spend money?
We're not even talking about the elections now. We're talking about by-elections.
That's what I'm telling you. And he's already complained that the INEC chairman himself is stating how challenges they have.
That the by-elections are not budgeted for.
Exactly. So if you know as an organization as big as INEC that based on the precedents that you have set, because I like to tell people how they are, because this is how they are. Now, based on the precedent that you have said that you do elections that end up, the elections can be determined because you don't do clear-cut things, and the elections go to litigations, you're also supposed to, in your budget, for those main elections, you're also supposed to set aside money for by-elections that might occur as a result of inconclusive natures of the elections that you conducted. So everything, the honor still lies back on you because of your poor planning, because because you are not independent as you claim to be. Because I can't see why you announce a result of an election when you just have only 31% of the votes that was counted available, and you go ahead and announce a result. That's a story for another day. That's a story that posterity will hold a lot of people responsible for in this nation. And you're coming out to tell us again as citizens of this nation to look at anything you're saying as an independent electoral commission. Myself, Ugochukwu, I'll never look at anything INEC says and take it with a pinch of salt, because what happened to us during the last election, everybody came out to participate, BVAs. Luckily for me, 2 years before then, I just did a programming course. I became a front-ender, a programmer. So I knew the programming language. I understood what happened in servers. And it was very obvious because the people that planned whatever INEC did not understand programming language. They didn't know that we had servers that, even when they are offline, once the server cites it, it uploads it and keeps it. So whenever that thing comes online, everything comes up. And that happened. And INEC never went back to look at those things that happened on their server and said, oh, there were errors. Okay, either we totally cancel this election or we look at why people are complaining about this. They went ahead and did whatever they did. And today they come out and tell us they're organizing by-elections. They've killed the urge in Nigerians to be interested in the electoral process because Nigerians feel that the electoral process does not represent the direction which they voted. So anything that comes from INEC, until INEC repairs this damage it has done to its image, it's going to be very hard for me to even listen. But for the by-election, I wish them luck. I ask Nigerians, for whatever reason, do not involve yourself in violence. Do not allow anybody that his child is in UK, in France, in the United States, in Europe, anywhere, to tell you to go and carry a weapon or to go and do something that will take your life or that will destroy other people's lives. When their own child, they can't tell their child to go and do that. So please, if you're going to support anybody, support the person because it's going to protect the future of you and your generation to come. And you'll be proud that you voted for that person. Try and exercise your franchise. It's still your franchise. Because at the end of the day, what INEC has done to us as citizens, psychologically, is to make us feel that you don't need to come out and vote. Because even if you come out, you mobilize yourselves and vote, we will give you any kind of results we want. I am from Rivers State here. I know what happened during the election. I was moving around. I was nearly shot during the election. And I was shocked that results that were announced in polling units, that a certain candidate won, when the result that was brought out was a totally different stuff, and nobody could challenge that. And the people that perpetrated this crime are still in this country in positions of power. So if we cannot address this, there's nothing you can tell somebody like me, Ugo Chukwura, that I will look at and believe, because justice is very important to equity.
Now, to a large extent for you, the trust deficit has given rise to voter apathy.
Exactly. A big one. It's 2027 election. One advantage the people that keeping this country in this condition have is that a lot of young people will just ask themselves a question. Does my vote count? Is it not the same INEC? So it will now give room for them to consistently do what they've always been doing, which in a way for me, it's, if we start thinking that way, it's a defeatist mentality. We have to, it has to be, something special has to happen to get people's attention back to vote and believe that their votes will be counted. Because as far as I'm concerned, the INEC can't open their mouth and say anything. The INEC people that redeemed themselves, the woman that was an electoral in Abia State, you see how people celebrated her. Because what she did was what the people's choice. The point is, it doesn't mean that the people cannot vote in the wrong candidates. Because politics is emotional for some people. You know, but the point is, when you now realize that you can also vote out a candidate that was an error with the same power you voted him in, it balances democracy. So whatever candidate that is coming, whatever his intentions are, he knows that whatever power he has lies with the people, not with INEC.
Right. Okay. Now, in your opinion, power has moved from the people
to INEC.
Yes. So elections in Nigeria are a mere exercise.
Exactly.
All right, very well. Now, INEC, part of the story was when INEC was talking about the challenges that it has, the budgeting and all that, it also appealed to the National Assembly to think of alternatives to filling in vacant seats. What are your thoughts on that?
I just think that I asked the question before I started saying this, must elections be that expensive? I belong to certain organizations that we have elections, and I can bet you that I've been in election committees that organize election, like INEC kind of stuff in our small organization. And we do not spend a dime to be able to run elections. Why are they so afraid of? Okay, let me ask you a question. Why are they afraid of diaspora votes? Why are they afraid of so many things that even
they cannot control? Yes,
because let me tell you the reality. Nigeria is the biggest market in the whole of Black Africa when it comes to electronics and mobile phones and the internet. Nigerians have a lot of smart people when it comes to this. Now, when you went to do whatever you did, you contracted it outside. You didn't give it to Nigeria. if you go to Amazon, the people that handle the server this thing and write them, they'll tell you everything. And it's such a shame for INEC because Amazon came out and said at no point did our servers have glitches. And INEC has not answered that question till today. And the problem with Nigerians is that we forget easily, but there are things you don't forget. Now you're coming out again to tell me. So let me explain something. We saw South Africa have an election, and we saw how it happened. We saw the US have an election. There are technologies in the world today that when you are above 18, okay, do you know that our national ID card, there's an electronic version of it that has been available for more than 5-6 years now. Sometimes when I'm traveling, that's what I use at the airport. Instead of stressing myself, bringing out my ID card from my wallet, I just go to the app, log into the app, show them, they can use a barcode, everything. But how many Nigerians know that they can have their national ID card on their phone, like an app, that NIMC has an app, National ID Card Management, they have an app. Why is nobody talking about it? What's the work of the National Orientation Agency? In a country where you're driving, in the economical aspect, you're pushing them towards cashless, and you're not pushing them towards tech.
Digital, yeah.
So if at this level, Nigerians, we can actually vote from the phone.
So an alternative in order to make it less cumbersome for INEC
if you already
is
have
to vote digitally.
Yes, now if you already have a NIN, BVN, only because Nigeria is a crazy country. Other countries, you just have social security. Here they will multiply different things. They even wanted to add one new one. I don't know why you need all those digital identity. Because all this digital identity contains your biometrics. So once you have a digital identity that contains your biometric, how can somebody rig you? How can somebody vote that it's you? Because if you sit down in your house and say, okay, I don't want to go to a polling center, I log into INEC on an election day and say, okay, voting time is from so time and so time. There's some biometric identification you just do on your phone. When you go to that listing, okay, they look at it, okay, this is this person. The system picks it, yes, this is the person, and you vote. Why can't they do that? Because they know that the minute they do those kind of things, power will be handed back to the people.
Interesting.